Vexilix, how you doing? Yo, Woolie, figured you'd appreciate this. For the sake of fairness, I'll present you both sides of an argument between me and my brother. In defense of David Cage, it's hard to make a story about oppression without a racial allegory, as humans aren't creative when it comes to that, and we tend to repeat the same beats, which I suppose is fair. In offense to David Cage, maybe don't have your fucking robots hold up the black power fist and say, "We have a dream," and then cowardly go, "I'm not saying anything." Thank you. That's exactly that is you've done the whole thing, right? If your brother was the former in that, like, it's possible that David Cage could have just not done those things and created a milquetoast bland Hollywood take on racism bad, and
It would have passed.
yeah, unity good, and it would have been just the most nothing whatever, but it would have landed, and then the tech would carry it the way it does, where for people who don't realize David Cage games are bad, the details reveal that he has a fundamental complete misunderstanding of the subject matter, right? Like, in general, he's kind of like, oh yes, I think these are good things and yay humanity and equality, but like now when it's time to execute, I'm going to stand here on top of the club and be like, shout outs to his family. You know, this one goes out to George Floyd. I have a dream. I have a dream. I have a, you know, and just like, you're like, you don't actually understand the nuances, right? You don't understand how stupid it looks when we cut to the back of a bus to see robots there because, oh look, robots are Rosa Parks. We get like, that's so dumb and bad and shitty that it makes your larger message seem ridiculous, because we're now looking at that larger message, which is supposed to be a dumb obvious positive, through the lens of some stupid idiot asshole who thinks, no, we need to put the fucking, you know, MLK but robots, like, you know. And so it's just like an ounce of tact and an ounce of subtlety. There's like, obviously we get the Yoko Tower versions, we compare that all the time, but as you said, right, it's when you zoom out into the small examples, and then you see how these small examples mean that you misunderstand the subject matter entirely, right? And like, we didn't even need to look outside of the game itself, that is Detroit, to see those examples. But once you do, and you see the full pattern of the work, right? The dark patterns you follow from the moment he made Fahrenheit, and you see like the fucking weirdness of like how all female characters in those games are portrayed, and you go, what's up with that? And then he's doing the dancing scene, and you know, and then you're like, and then, oh, he says it himself, yes, oh, all girls in my games are sluts, and you're like, okay, well, now that makes sense, right? Because it felt weird. And then it acts, and then you see, okay, right, you know. So within the games themselves, they're shit, but like when you see the overall pattern of it, you go, wow, I don't trust you on any subject matter whatsoever, you know. And then whatever, court and lawsuits and dumb stuff like that. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like there's a ton of places where people work where there's a shitty work environment. Nothing unusual about that except for the like the crying and running out of the courtroom. But that's all just gravy on the subject matter. That is like, you sit down and someone asks you about your messages, which you have clear, loud statements, and then you can't back them up because you don't know how to say anything profound, right? You think the equivalency of profoundness is the girl on the title screen reminds you that it's MLK Day, and then she asks you to leave, and then she goes away, and then you can bring her back though, because I want my game to still have the pretty girl on the front, and I get sad if she's gone, therefore deleting the message. It's like Nier is, as a direct comparison, asks you to do something that involves permanently losing stuff, forever. And when it does it, it doesn't, there's no take backsies. It's a permanent loss.
Okay.
Right? And then the only way to acknowledge that anything was ever there to begin with is a small little flower that shows up somewhere.
Okay.
That is like, oh, you that's a memory of what you did.
Okay.
Of your sacrifice. And that's
all
it.
you got. That's all you get.
Meanwhile, you pop in Detroit and it's like, oh, did you let her go? Are you sad that you gave your robot freedom? Here, you can get another one. Never mind.
Oh, okay.
You
it's
know,
that easy.
And it's just like, you just undermined your entire point. Why even make the proposition to be? And so someone who doesn't understand that re-asking you if you want to put the slave robot back on the title screen defeats the purpose of freeing them cannot handle any other complex subject matter. You know? So yeah. If that was your brother's take, then that's exactly it. You can make those things, you can visit those subjects and not hit on it in that way. It's interesting because I remember back in the day. So there's the movie, you know the movie Crash? Have you ever seen it?
A long time ago. I forget all the scenes, but yeah.
Because that's been one of those things that's become like depreciated in its like Hollywood depiction of like, you know, like everything's the same on all sides, and you know, here's different aspects of it's interesting. Like, it's gotten depreciated for different reasons, but I remember at the time I was like, oh shit, that's really interesting. I don't think I've seen race depicted in this way in these, you know, in this type of thing. But like it definitely, it was a product of the time, and things have gotten way crazier since then, that I'm sure if you go back and look at it now, it doesn't quite reflect how fucked up things have become, right? I haven't watched it since, but I did like it when I watched it, as far as just like at the very least, like presenting some scenarios that were like unexpected outcomes based on racial discomfort, right? In the same way that like Get Out kind of made you get racially uncomfortable, and then you're like, what is happening? Oh, okay. Oh, right. And it's the type of thing where these David Cage games, like, the further you get away from, like, Crash went from being like, oh, okay, I see what you're going for, to being like, okay, the times have changed a little bit, but I get your point. David Cage's version of that, as time goes forward, it starts off being completely inaccurate and stupid. Like, the replay of Detroit 10 years from now is going to be amazing. When you play Detroit in 2030, it's going to be wild. Because it's already so off the mark, you know? And then again, like, someone that misunderstands all that shit, like, of course you're going to have Elliot Page being like, what the fuck are you doing with that model? What's going on? Not lawsuit, like, uncomfortable actors being like, just not, you know, it's just, there's all of that follows, because yeah, like, dude sucks, man.
Yeah,
you know. So all right, we're rambling. Hope that answers your question.